Oh man, we've just been rug pulled by Donald Trump and his tariff plans. Huge tariffs have just gone into place, and much worse than many people have predicted. Markets are getting wrecked. Bitcoin is falling. People are getting liquidated again. And it's not good, guys. I'm going to be straight out the bat here on this data. This is not good. In my update video earlier in the day, I said, guys, if we can get some, anticlimactic data, if the data is less worrying than we thought, then we can recover quite quickly. But Trump has done the complete opposite. He has been as shocking as possible. And there is now a real risk of us being thrown into a hard recession landing. Let's talk through exactly what's going on. I mean, he even came out with this little kind of like A3 board, like he's done his homework in an arts fair project, coming out with this data where he's now imposed some heavy tariffs on many major countries. Now, of course, he started off with this baseline 10% tariff on countries. There's no negotiation on this, just 10%, pow, take it, 10%, pay it. And then he's gone and listed out this, right? Tariffs charged to the USA. But look at the small print here, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. In other words, guys, in the early research I'm doing into this number, this looks concocted. This whole column here is just Trump's number that his team has made up pretty much. I don't think there's much evidence around these being the actual percents being charged to America. I think he's using this for a negotiation gambit. And to be honest, I think he's reverse calculated this. I think him and his team has done the math to say, how much do we need to fill in the trade deficit with each of these countries? And therefore, what should the percentage tariff be? As opposed to saying, what is the percentage tariff? Let's match them with a reciprocal tariff, which is what he's trying to pass this off as. So let's take a look at the list of some of the highlights here. I mean, Dubai, where I'm sat, 10%, it's going to be 10%, right? You got Argentina, 10%, 10%, fine. Those are the easy ones. But take a look further down, and you start to see some heavy hitters. There's also a second page as well, which I'm going to bring to your attention. European Union, 20% flat rate going into effect. I think it's immediately. I think it's as of midnight. So that's pretty painful there. You got India. They're claiming that they've got a 52% tariff. Oh, look, we're being nice. We're going to give you 26% tariff. We're going in at half. Japan. Oh, look, you're tariffing us to the extent of 46%. And again, this number is concocted, right? Again, they're saying, oh, look, you're playing around with the currency here, or, oh, because in your country you have child labor, you have access to this trade barrier, therefore the effective tariff rate is this. That's how they're calculating this number. It's not the actual tariff amount. So Japan, who they're saying is doing 46%, we're going to give them a 24%. The big one here is China, right? 34%. There's no mention of Mexico on here, which is quite interesting. Maybe they're managing to sort stuff out behind scenes. It's not on this list. I mean, Israel's getting 17%, but you saw in the headlines yesterday that Israel said, no, we're going to take our tariffs off. Free trade for American goods, right? But the reality is, we know how much Israel are getting in terms of billions of dollars in their military component. So in terms of military aid and ammunition, so I mean, it's a given that they're going to turn theirs off. Australia going to get hit with 10%, Pakistan with a 29%, Turkey 10%, Sri Lanka 44%. Look, some big ones in there, guys. But more importantly, this is unprecedented. I think these are the highest tariffs ever recorded globally. This is going to be a painful shock on the markets, and markets are reacting in kind, right? I mean, look, if you look at the S&P, it was rallying, right? It was rallying into the day, and this shows how little confidence Trump has in his plan, was that he knew to announce it after the markets closed. So this was the market. It closed up nice and in the green, 0.6%. But of course, if you jump on over to the pre-market now, it's just blood. It's absolute blood. I mean, the NASDAQ futures here fallen 3.73%. The S&P down 3%. Dow Jones, which is supposed to be your safe place to be, down 2%. So when you start looking at that, and you look at crypto, which is now kind of still relatively, which is down 3%, on the day up until midnight. I mean, it's not crazy, right? For crypto to be down 3% when you've got the NASDAQ down 3.7%, it shows that crypto's holding up relatively well. Of course, from a just a pure value perspective, no, we're getting wrecked. Every asset class here is getting wrecked based on what's going on. If you take a look at the US 10-year That fell 1.7%. Yields would have, of course, gone up. I mean, look at the gap here to the downside. Risk is rotating off here, guys. No matter how you want to look at it, this is a worrying sign for markets. There's no nice way to look at what Trump's doing right now. Now, I guess the question is, how much of this is, this is now the status quo versus, nope, I'm just sticking to my guns. I hope in a couple of weeks countries start to capitulate and then we can go back to free trade. I think that's our only saving grace right now, is how quickly do we go back to free trade? I don't see it. I think we're going to wake up in the morning. I'm posting this at 4 a.m. here in Dubai time. I think we're going to wake up, particularly in the as Europe wakes up tomorrow, as the UK and Europe come out, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come back swinging. I don't think they're just going to sit there going, this is okay. I think this is a chance for countries to respond to the US in a united manner, right? And if they do so in a united manner, they have a chance. If they do so sporadically, the US are going to win, right? Everything Trump wants to do will start to play out. But I think they're going to come out united. I think the UK will come back. I think the European Union will want to hit back on that 20% blanket. I think, of course, China's doing their own thing and going the opposite direction, saying where we want free trade, right? They're speaking to major countries that, they previously hadn't, that are anti-US, let's say, and they're trying to strike up deals. And that's naturally what countries are going to want to do. If US wants to be a bully and alienate itself, they're just empowering other countries to work together. Now, of course, US is strong and mighty and powerful, and I think that's what Trump is relying on. But to what extent? Now, coming back to crypto here, look, whether we like it or not, we got rejected by the EMA ribbon, right? I spoke about this yesterday. We showed some strength going up really nicely. We're really optimistic going into the Trump meeting. We went as high on yesterday's, when I say yesterday, I mean just the midnight that's just gone 4 hours ago. We went as high as 88.5. We're showing really good strength. We wanted to get back above our EMA ribbon, which I spoke about from a technical analysis point of view would have been a real good coup, right? It would have been a real good sign of strength showing us that we can get above it, because the last time we closed meaningfully above it was 31st of January. So that would have been really symbolic of us having gone past this tariff fears. But now, given the extent of the tariffs we faced, you'd be silly not to prepare for more pain. And again, I call out that kind of 72 to 74 level here on Bitcoin as a nice area I'd want to buy the dip on. But this doesn't seem like an issue that's going to go away quickly. This is going to be an issue that's going to marinate. There's going to be, reciprocations on both sides. And of course, if a country reciprocates, Trump's going to reciprocate again because he's stubborn like that. And so I don't think we're going to get out of this anytime soon. Long story short, does anything change from my perspective? No, I'm going to buy the dip, right? There's nothing here to panic from. There's nothing, Bitcoin specific reason why we're falling here. There's nothing wrong with the crypto markets. Crypto markets are healthier than they've ever been before. So when I look at the charts here, I just see it as an opportunity to buy. And the lower the price goes, the more I'll continue to buy. From a recessionary standpoint, that's where the serious fears are going to come in, right? The real fears are going to come around the fact that we could be sparking trade wars globally, which of course we are already, right? We are sparking trade wars. But what about the recession? What about increasing pricing, driving us into a hard landing? When, to be honest, we were really close to a nice soft landing. That could create a lot of pain. So those are the worries here in the market. Definitely not a liberation day, a painful day in the markets, leaving many people, including myself, just really confused. What is this game plan Trump's making? Seems very, very kamikaze-ish for someone who's only going to be in power for 3 to 4 years. Doesn't seem to make too much sense. But again, what were we expecting? You knew Trump was going to come into power, trying to throw Hail Marys, trying to, leave a legacy behind in 3 to 4 years. And the only way he's going to do that is doing what he knows to do, which is being chaotic, being destructive, and hoping that things work out. So from a US point of view, if it works out, if this Hail Mary works out and you manage to bridge the deficit and you no longer have income tax and all the things that you're being promised, then fine. But the reality is when you actually look at it, it just seems to be that he's just reversing these numbers just to try to make up this deficit. But it doesn't seem like it's going to work as smoothly as he thinks. Let me know your views in the comments, guys. A tough day for markets. And of course, we have to swing with the punches, right? You've got to roll with the punches as an investor. You've got to see the value. You've got to believe in your conviction plays. And these moments pass, just like a world war passes, just like Russia-Ukraine war, just like any of the tough other things that go on like COVID, and you continue to build your bags and invest over time. The market's designed to shake you out. Don't let it shake you out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.